Well, hi everyone. I'm very, very excited today because we're partnering with NYU's Marketing Society to talk about all things IBM, but more specifically, our corporate advertising team and our recent campaign around hybrid cloud. So I'm Leah Chen. I'm currently the digital and social media strategist on our IBM marketing talent strategy team that oversees our marketing internships and early professional talent.
I'm Rachel Morin. I manage our corporate advertising team here at IBM. I just realized that this week is my 7th year with IBM, which is crazy.
And I'm Andrew Nee. I'm the branding director of the NYU Student Marketing Society. And I'm very excited to be here.
To get us started, Rachel, if you kind of want to give us just an introduction to what the campaign is and how IBM is just like thinking about hybrid cloud with this project.
Yeah, so I mean, cloud is not a new concept by any means, but I really do believe that the pandemic sort of accelerated a reality that business has been heading to for years. Businesses weren't overly concerned about making sure that all of their applications and data were in the cloud. But when the pandemic happened, everyone had to change everything they did overnight. So supply chains were ramping up or ramping way down, and they had no way to sort of turn on a dime. So really, the notion of hybrid cloud is just about how do you do what you need to get done from anywhere, and how do you make sure that all of your systems are talking to one another in a consistent way that's scalable.
What has your experience been like with virtual shoots during the pandemic, and do you see like the process of shooting and filming in the future changing after what we've been through in the virtual environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything about the pandemic will change pretty much everything that we do, and we realized that we actually could do it through Zoom, and that's sort of like a now statement, but in the beginning, we ended up just having independent like shooters going out into the world and capturing what was happening. And then we had, people's kids were drawing photos, and we were putting that into the work, and it was just really like sort of homegrown. I personally hope we get back to being able to go on location, because I think there's something special in the relationship you develop with your team and with the talent and directors that you still can't really recreate virtually, but it's been working for now.
Awesome. And then my second question is, what role does the director play before a shoot even begins?
Once we all decide on a concept that we like, directors can bid how they would treat this execution. So what I really love in the process is when we get back the bids from each individual director, how they come at it a little bit differently. And once you actually meet with them in the pre-production meeting, it's really exciting to hear them personally pitch like why they chose this way in. And so that's one of my favorite parts of the entire production process.
And what are the benchmarks of success, or how do you measure success for the different campaigns that you're running?
For us in advertising, our key metric is really relevancy. So while we're not particularly concerned with one product, one business unit, one offering, we have, of course, like hero offerings like IBM Cloud and IBM Watson that you hear about in the work. But we're more concerned with IBM's relevance as an overall brand, because you can't build consideration for an offering without even knowing who you are.
What's been your strategy to market this relatively complex topic in a pretty concise amount of time?
Yeah, it's funny because anytime I read something or like read a script, look at a concept, I kind of think in the back of my head, would my mom understand this? And also would like the CEO of Verizon understand this? We do cast a wide net, and if things are going on TV, you don't want someone to be watching like American Idol and all of a sudden this hybrid cloud commercial comes on, they're like, I don't even understand what this means. So the best way to do that is to make it relatable. If I said, no one likes choosing between things. You want something that's fast and reliable. You want something that's, safe and modern.
Labradoodles, cronuts, skorts.
It's a skirt and shorts.
The world loves a hybrid. So do businesses.
So businesses don't want to choose between things either. They want to be able to use their data wherever it is. If you say something that's sort of metaphorical like that and just like logical that people can relate to in everyday life, it tends to make it a little easier to digest.
So what is your intended audience?
It's tough because it is very much a combination. I think we're really focused on the C-suite, but we're also really focused on the developer. You know, they're more than ever, those developers are informing the purchasing decisions of a broader organization. So developers have to like the tools, otherwise they're going to tell their management they don't want to use them.
I've seen some of your ads, they feature individuals such as Timbaland, NFL coach Mike Singletary, and more of these such individuals. So I was just wondering, why did you choose these individuals to advertise the hybrid cloud?
Yeah, the agency came back with this really fun idea that was inspired by The Big Short, if you're familiar with that film. And throughout The Big Short, you know, they'll stop and go to like someone like Anthony Bourdain, and Anthony Bourdain is totally playing himself, and he's giving, you know, he's comparing why CDO is just like cooking. So what could be the best professional metaphors that stand for these things? Like a football coach can easily talk about needing speed and security, like a running back and a lineman. Or you have a chef talking about needing to get your ingredients prepared ahead of time if you're going to be cooking something later. And that's kind of like making sure that your data and apps are prepared to be used wherever they need to be used.
And I guess, how do you expect your intended audience to react to these creative ads?
You always kind of want them to be like, wait, why is Timbaland in an IBM ad for? And you know, it's okay if they question it for a second. At least they're talking about the ad. You know, I would rather them say that than just passively watch it and move on with their day. We're seeing that it's being well received, and we want them to have that association with IBM as relevant. So if they think these people are relevant, then that's good for the brand.
How do you make sure that your campaigns are representative? And definitely in 2020, the conversation around diversity and inclusion is at the forefront. So how does your team think about that?
It's so difficult because I think we're all so deeply passionate as individuals about certain things that are happening in the world. What we really have to do is just remember what the IBM brand stands for and always let that be our North Star. It's about what the brand can truly represent and what it has behind it. And I think some brands fall into this trap of like, everyone's saying this, so like we have to say this too. But people aren't stupid. If it is not authentic to what your brand stands for every other day of the year, they'll call you on it in every way. So I think once we go back to IBM's really strong set of values established over 109 years, like let that be our North Star, and then it's really easy to decide what's the right thing to do.
This is just a question on behalf of my fellow students. What's your advice for future IBMers who want to learn more of the skills to work on projects such as the Hybrid Cloud Initiative?
Well, I have to say, I had never studied advertising a day in my life. I studied communications and writing in school. This was always my dream job, but I just never assumed that I could be on this team because I didn't think I had the right set of skills. And it just goes to show that it's not about having like the same skills as everyone else. It's about your skill set being able to complement the work that the team is doing. If you want to learn about hybrid cloud specifically or technology, I think OpenPTech, which is a virtual web portal that IBM has available to anyone. And they have courses on AI, on blockchain, on security, on cloud, on whatever you could possibly want to learn how to do. And they're built by, you know, IBM professionals. So that's a really good place to start exploring. And I have to plug to follow IBM on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn, because they are always sharing great content as well, and ways to learn about the technology and the brand.